incredible piece of writing for today's explainer. We're looking at Robin Klein's brilliant poem, Amanda. And honestly, this piece perfectly captures that universal friction we've absolutely all felt while growing up. You know the exact feeling we're talking about, right? It's that intense friction between relentless parental expectations and our own desperate need just to daydream. It's what happens when the real world is asking way too much of you, and literally all you want to do is drift away into your own thoughts. You know what's really fascinating here? Before the actual poem even begins, we get hit with this incredibly relatable thought about just how it feels to have your freedom entirely curtailed. It's like, bam, right out of the gate, it forces us to remember that feeling of being controlled. By placing this statement front and center, Klein sets the stage so we instantly empathize with our protagonist, Amanda. We immediately know the exact kind of pressure cooker she's sitting in. And the way the poem is actually built on the page, it's literally swinging back and forth like a pendulum. You've got these strict, commanding stanzas from an adult, followed immediately by these completely silent, bracketed responses from Amanda. It is basically a relentless tug-of-war between a harsh reality and a super vivid imagination. Let's start with the adult, what we can call the outer voice. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. I mean, you can hear it, right? The delivery is crisp, it's fast-paced, and it is totally authoritative. You can practically feel the adult standing right over her, demanding perfect posture and absolute obedience. It's just a constant, relentless rhythm of correction. Because this outer voice is built entirely out of rapid-fire chores and mundane demands that are just bombarding Amanda. Finish your homework, tidy your room, clean your shoes. There's zero conversation happening here. Zero warmth. It's just an exhausting, endless loop of instructions being barked at this poor kid. But then we slip into Amanda's world. And this is profound, actually. Her most colorful, rebellious thoughts, they're completely trapped inside parentheses. It's not just some formatting quirk by the poet. It's entirely symbolic. Her inner world is contained and isolated on the page, exactly the way she feels physically trapped and isolated in her everyday reality by all that constant nagging.
And there is this perfect, almost mathematical correlation between her two worlds. Every single harsh command triggers a soft, dreamy alter ego in Amanda's inner sanctuary. Told not to hunch? Boom, she's a drifting mermaid. Told to clean her shoes? Suddenly she pictures herself as an orphan playing in the dust. Scolded about eating chocolate? She becomes Rapunzel, locked in a tower. For every single push from the adult, there's an equal and opposite pull right into Amanda's imagination.
And just look at the absolute contrast in the vocabulary here. The adult is using these harsh, kind of ugly everyday words. Acne, shoes, homework. But Amanda? Her mind is swimming in this lush, liberating, poetic language. Languid, blissfully, tranquil. The words themselves literally show us how desperately far away she's trying to get from the room she's sitting in. When we slip into her first daydream, the tone just completely drops. It becomes hushed and peaceful. She dreams of a languid emerald sea where she is the sole inhabitant. Think about that, the sole inhabitant. It really reveals her desperate need to just be left entirely alone. She just wants to be a mermaid drifting blissfully, totally untethered from the heavy anchors of posture checks and room cleaning. Now, this next stanza is deeply fascinating. Being an orphan is actually a fantasy for her. Which, when you think about it, is wild, right? It emphasizes that to Amanda, having absolutely zero nagging guardians, even if it means she's roaming dusty streets barefoot with nothing to her name, that represents a sweet freedom to her. That is how suffocating the constant instructions have become. A life of solitary poverty genuinely sounds better to her than one more lecture about her shoes. So as the poem pushes toward its final confrontation, Amanda really dials up her escapism. She steps into the shoes of a famous fairy tale character. She isn't just a generic mermaid or a nameless orphan anymore. No, she embraces her desire to vanish by embodying a legendary figure of isolation. But she totally rewrites the Rapunzel story. She decides that isolation in a tower is tranquil and rare. And hilariously, I love this part, she vows to never let down her bright hair. Think about that. She doesn't want a prince. She doesn't want to be rescued. She definitely doesn't want anyone climbing up to join her in her peaceful sanctuary. She has found the absolute ultimate locked door to keep that nagging voice out. Of course, back in the real world, the adult has absolutely no idea any of this is happening. They don't see the mermaid or the orphan or Rapunzel. They just see the outside and hurl these final accusations. Stop sulking at once, and you're always so moody. The adult interprets Amanda's total mental checkout as just sulking and moodiness, completely missing the vibrant, rich, and incredibly creative world that is actively thriving right inside her head. Which brings us to the absolute ultimate irony of the entire piece. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. I mean, you literally couldn't make this up. The adult is entirely blind to their own oppressive behavior. They are 100% convinced they aren't nagging while doing exactly that in the exact same breath. It perfectly highlights this complete, utter breakdown of communication and understanding between the two of them. So, as we wrap up this explainer on Robin Klein's brilliant work, I really want to leave you with a thought to chew on. Is Amanda actually sulking? Or has she simply found the ultimate untouchable escape inside her own mind? It really challenges us to reconsider how we perceive silence in other people, doesn't it? It's a fantastic reminder of the beautiful, invincible freedom of our own inner worlds.